Alrighty, folks, welcome in to another episode of Wine Wednesday. It is just I here. Huddie will be joining us in just a few minutes. I just got off the phone with him. That's why we're a little bit late. He is on his way to his place and will connect to us when he gets here. But for now, welcome in. What is going on, chat? Sly, Wayne, Thomas, Sanjay, Raz, Baha, more Chris, more Wayne, more Thomas, more Wayne, more Thomas, Warren, more Thomas, and Fernando. Welcome in. A few names are obviously always recognizable from Good Morning NASDAQ. Today was a pretty good day, small red day for me, but a lot is going on, a lot is happening. I forgot I was saying in the webinar that Dom and I gave you yesterday. Still haven't looked into it, but I feel like I need another monitor because I'm just flipping through charts all the time, and I usually don't do that. I usually have my 10 up or so, and that's about it. But now I've been having 10 up, and then there's 2 charts that I'm kind of half watching, and I flip through 5 more charts throughout the day, so it's getting a little hectic. But BZ says congrats, thank you, appreciate it. To everyone who's given me well wishes, I very much appreciate it. It was an incredible time. And yeah, no honeymoon just yet. We're going on honeymoon in about maybe a month and a half or so that's coming up. But yeah, thank you guys. It was an amazing time. Anyways, actually, you know what? I'll do it because Dom's not here. If Dom wasn't here and he was getting here, I'll wait to show him. But obviously, drink of night choice is Truly. To update you guys who have been following along, I have 2 more Trulies. So this one more, not Truly, sorry, White Claws, duh. This one more, and then we're back to the wine. I do have a few wine glasses in the fridge that I need to get to, but we're almost out of the seltzers. So, seltzer for tonight. Dom will not make it, or maybe he'll show up late, but I don't think he'll make it. He said he had something related to golf and something related to weather, so won't be able to make it here this evening. But feel free to throw in your questions, comments, charts, trades, you know it, you name it. Also, before I get into the first question I see here, congrats, Bitcoiners, new all-time highs today by just barely, by a few $100s a coin, and then it did pull back due to, there was bond news, or they did a bond offering, our government or the Fed, and usually that's decent when when people buy our bonds. It turns out there was either I didn't look into it, either there was less than expected or nobody, which is not a good sign. And so markets kind of got a little shaken out there. But when I heard the news, I got even more bullish for Bitcoin because that's pretty bullish, because if no one's buying our bonds, that means we have to buy our own bonds, which means money printing, which means Bitcoin go up. So it's not a shock to me that we are right back just 1,000 points away from the highs. Oh, my lead analyst wants to join me on my seat here. All right, buddy. Knock yourself out. But anyways, so that's cool. There's Huddie.
Hey now.
There we go. Grabbing a drink, a snack, what have you. But yeah, Sahil, sorry if I say your name wrong, asked, did you see the Fannie Mae news? Trump posted about Fannie Mae. Yes, I did. I saw that right before we started the stream. And, I wouldn't call it news. It was I wouldn't say tweet, but a post on his Truth Social. And, I am excited to see that. However, it's not a surprise to me. That's really, if you watched, there was a video we posted on actually Clover's page. Let me find out when this was, just so you guys can actually see it here. Where was it? Oh gosh, it's gonna be a while here. Let me scroll down. It definitely was either either December or January. Keep scrolling. 4 months ago. No, so yeah, here we go. Let's see.
I think might be one of the hottest stocks.
This was on, when was this? January 13th, 2025. We posted on Clover my Fannie Mae thesis. And in there, I just go in there Trump has an objective, and it may not be as a priority of an objective, but nonetheless an objective that he eventually will get to and want to push the narrative of getting Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac out of conservatorship. And so when he, now that he posted on Truth Social, and he said, for those who don't see it, let me put it on the screen here so you guys know what we're talking about for those who missed it. Let me pop this out to the internet here. Oh, right here. He said, I'm giving very serious consideration to bringing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac public, even though they are public, but public back to like NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange off the OTC. I will be speaking with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, and Director of Head of Housing Agency or Federal Finance Agency William Plute, among others, and will be making a decision in the near future. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are doing very well, throwing out a lot of cash, and the time would seem to be right. Stay tuned. Huge, massive. Now, again, if you've already been following the thesis, that's no surprise. But again, Trump says something, people listen, and so I think anyone who's not familiar with Fannie Mae's thesis or is not familiar with Trump's objective or priority to do that and get that done, I wouldn't be shocked if it actually does break out tomorrow. We'll see. I'm not chasing it to the bank. It could do nothing, but that post from him doesn't shock me. And so here we are. Pretty freaking cool. So yes, long story short, I have seen the news. Yes, Huddie.
Do you consider 775 a level of interest, or is it just 8?
Let's see, 775. That was the first level, right? Or 780. Then there was 8.
Yesterday's and today's double top.
Yeah.
On big volume.
I mean, if someone wanted to be aggressive, you could try to buy 775 in anticipation of 8, but just be prepared that there is a world where it breaks 775 and then doesn't break 8, and now you're like in this limbo area of, well, it hasn't broken out yet, but I'm long. Like, as long as it's part of your plan. What's up?
We call that no man's land.
Yeah, it's like as long as that's part of your plan. Like for me, for those who were in the chat room, saw my alert when I started buying a starter at like on the 5th or on the 8th of May, because my plan included and allowed me to be in kind of this no man's land, right? It just so happened that it's actually working, which is cool. But this could have done nothing for another month, and I would have been okay with it because that's what my plan called for. So as long as you make the correct plan for you and understand that anticipating can lead to said conflictions with plan if you don't make the right one, then yeah, go for it. But if not, wait for 8 to that level. But what are we drinking about, Huddie, by the way? I already showed them, but I've got my second to last not Truly, God, I keep saying Truly, White Claw seltzer, if you will.
Nice. I got a can of Guinness.
Nice. Didn't you have that last week or 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Keeping those going. Nice. All right.
Same 4-pack.
Love it. There we go. Fernando says, congratulations, I see all the photos. What a party, Kyle. Yes, it was freaking awesome. And we had this videographer and photographer that were absolute killer. So it was really cool. Fernando says, did you trade something in Mexico? I traded, let me look at my good old journal here. I did technically trade up until Thursday, but Wednesday and Thursday were pretty much from my phone for a very short period of time. And then Friday, I didn't even wake up for the market open. I was awake for market open on Monday, but I was packing. I was traveled, kind of a travel day, and it was just busy saying bye to people. So I was up, but it was not for the market open. But all my money was made Monday and Tuesday. I made back-to-back 50K days Monday and Tuesday, so I finished up the week around 100K, and then didn't trade till Tuesday this week. So yes, technically traded in Mexico, but not very seriously. So, Sly says, can you go over your woke entry and exit thought process? So the woke entry this morning, I think Sly, you were there this morning. I was trying to get short on what I thought was a lower low, and it looked like 80 was that level. But if you remember, and it was either that lower low, it's either lower low or like low a day, right? If I miss any lower low, but low a day comes, like that's also another technical lower low. And that's kind of the weird part about woke, because that's what it did. It immediately broke 80, and then in the same candle, just barely broke low a day. And for those who weren't there, if you rewatch the Good Morning Nasdaq, you could see me frantic. You can't see me like what I'm doing with my computer, but you can see me like looking down. I'm like frantically trying to change my order from 80 to just low a day. It was 80 to like 73, like a huge chase, but I was willing to do it because I thought woke could get destroyed like if it did anything like it did last time it gapped up. And then while I was doing that, I this happened in 2 seconds. I literally look up and I actually filled 80. It filled 80. So I left my order there, and as I'm frantically trying to put in the new order before I cancel the 80 order, it actually bounced and filled me at 80. So I got a little lucky, got the original entry I wanted. And then with all gap and craps that I short, it's then just waiting for them to fade. And usually it's into the close. This time woke was actually one that didn't work out, right? And in fact, if I covered in mid-morning at like 50 cents or so, that was actually the best cover. It turns out it just liquidly uptrended the rest of the day. So I didn't get to cover till like this somewhere in the 60s. So it did give some money back, but that's just part of the territory of the strategy that I'm willing to do. And that's the process right there. That's what I do. So, Huddie, have you looked into, or what is your outlook on UNH, that healthcare, with the rumors of fraudulent something?
Why me?
I don't know. Just I thought if you had known about, I don't know enough about it. I'm a little bit naive or ignorant in the whole scenario with them.
Dude, I didn't even see that until I was at your wedding and everyone was talking about it. There's three things everyone talked about at your wedding as far as the traders went. There's MLTPLF, whatever that one, I can't say it either. MTLPF, MPTLF.
Yep.
The Japanese master coin.
Master.
Whatever I just said sounded cool. Japanese master coin. They talked about that and how everyone was like trying to buy the breakout. That worked out really well. They talked about how Bitcoin was going to break all-time highs. That did happen. And then they talked about what you just mentioned, UNH, United Healthcare. And I pulled up the chart and I said, holy shit, that looks like it's down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough for me because like I don't know the difference between, it's down a lot for good reason and it's down a lot because there's something like broken fundamentally, right? Like here's two different down a lots for me. This is what I understand, this is what I don't understand. I don't understand much. When the banking crisis was happening back in 2023, March, that seemed like something was broken fundamentally. And I want to stay the heck away from that because I don't really know much about the banking sector, but this looks bad. There's banks going under and they're going bankrupt, and they're banks that I used. I was part of First Republic. That seemed like a situation that was far past my pay grade, and I guess what I'm trying to say is you have to know the difference between when it's this is what the term I use, bad Ebola or bad romaine. There's not Ebola, E. coli in romaine, or is it seriously something that's fundamentally flawed with the situation? So let me give you a comparison. We had the banking situation, which is that's not bad romaine. That's bad. Okay, there's something broken. 2008, something's broken, right? Then we had we had that cybersecurity scare where I don't know, CrowdStrike got hit pretty hard because there was a hack in the Microsoft systems and stuff like that.
Yep, exactly.
And I don't know exactly the catalyst that was there, but that seemed like bad romaine. And the reason I even use bad romaine is because it actually goes back to Chipotle. Chipotle had bad romaine at one point. There was E. coli in the romaine, and the stock dropped $300 off the highs, a 50% haircut. And in my opinion, bad romaine will solve itself. Bad romaine is temporary. There will be good romaine again. E. coli will go away from the romaine. So the question is is United Healthcare bad romaine, or is it something very fraudulently bad with the company that will not go away? I honestly don't know. So I can't really answer the question. But on the cybersecurity front, okay, they got hacked. They're gonna fix that. Chipotle had bad romaine, but they're gonna fix that. The banks had these interest rates that really couldn't cover what the current interest rates were, what the yields were. I don't know the exact situation, but that seemed you could not recover from that, and they were going bankrupt. Many of them, right? So there's a difference of tragedies, right? I don't know the situation, United Healthcare. That's for you to research and figure out yourself, make your own thesis, and then buy the right side of the V, as Lance would say. I'm just trying to give you two different examples of what to stay the F away from and what is maybe understandable, and you got to draw those conclusions yourself. What's UNH at?
Yeah, I like that.
I don't even.
It's at 293.
Oh, Wow, kind of a first red day today.
A little bounce, yeah. But yeah, it's just my only thoughts on it is just it's a great idea if the claims are false, and it's an iffy idea if the claims are true, right? And so I'm not really there to play that game, you know. So, anyways, let's see where we left off. Wally says, congrats, Kyle. Thank you. Is it easy for you guys to accept losses, and how do you think about / view them?
I hate losses.
I was about to say, we may accept them, but we don't necessarily like them. And that's true for any stage you're at. And honestly, if you size up, like if you watched my Bitcoin going to new all-time highs. Holy crap. That's awesome. If you watch my recap, literally last month, April's, I talk about at the end how I'm not ready to size up because every loss that I took the last week or so of the month just thoroughly irritated me. It almost didn't matter the size, but some were bigger than I wanted. But it just like if I took a loss, I was annoyed, man. And it was very easy for me to start revenge trading on a few names or a few trades. And so it just doesn't really ever go away. It's just how much can you continually build on your own emotional, depth or understanding of yourself, and just learn how to tolerate it and handle it, right? Because a big part about unprofitable traders is that they don't get that under control, and they always revenge trade, or they can never accept being wrong, and they'll struggle the whole trading career, right? So like, it's not that we ever can handle them; it's just how well can we juggle them, if that makes sense, because it always affects us. It's just some can handle it better than others, is my best answer to that. Everyone's perfect world is like you only make money and you never lose. It doesn't exist, but that's what we all dream of, right? So
I dreamed of getting an entry on SYTA today. That didn't happen.
Say it again.
I dreamed of getting an entry on SYTA today, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's not working out for us. Extremely Justice keeps starting with $100 account on Thinkorswim and trying to run it up to options on QQQ. I got it up to 450, then blew it up to 675, and then blew it up. I truly don't believe I can do it. So Josh, there's a few things in here that are alarming tells for someone like Huddie or I, that makes it very clear why you're not making it happen for yourself. And so I might be a little harsh here. I do not mean this personally. I don't know you personally, but I'm going to tell you like it is. Starting with a $100 account is a pipe dream. That is like buying a lottery ticket. I know some traders have done it, but to think I or anyone could start doing with $100 and thinking they're the ones that are going to do it is a fool's game. I would save up, try to start with an account of in the 2, 3, 5, even 10 grand range. Give yourself a little bit of bandwidth to actually work with, and not just $100. That is like trading is already difficult, let alone doing it with $100. That is like threading a needle through a hoop 10,000 miles away. You are playing a game that is so insanely difficult, that is already insanely difficult. The second thing is you're doing it on options on the NASDAQ. If you want the casino of the stock market, go to 0DT options on the overall indexes, right? That is where the degens live, because they like to have things go up up or down hundreds of percent, because they expire almost worthless every single day, if they pick the right day and the right time. So that also sounds like the easiest way to just not make money. Again, I'm sure some people do. Haven't met one of them. Haven't met a single one of someone who does that. So those two things right there, like get a bigger account and pick a strategy that actually has some structure to it, right? That's not degenning on 0DT options on the most difficult and manipulated thing of all, which is the overall indexes with billions and trillions of dollars more than you have, right? Algos and hedge funds and analysts and market makers, like, you don't want to play against those guys. That is a losing game. So I don't know if you have anything to add, Huddie, but hopefully you take that to heart, Josh, because I don't mean it negatively. That's just the reality of it.
I just want to say you're so nice, Kyle. So nice.
Okay.
I want to slap this guy upside the head. What's he doing trading options? You're so nice, Kyle. Oh God, that's me. I didn't hear what was going on. What's going on?
He's trading with a $100 account, and he's trading 0 DT options on. Well, I don't know 0 DT, but he's trading options on the QQQ, which I would assume are either weekly or less, which would be daily.
Extremely Josh. Have you tried changing your name to maybe like slightly above average Josh? Like maybe just stop doing what you're doing. I don't know a lot of options traders that are very good at the stock. Like you want to like kind of model your trading off someone that is A, transparent, and B, like you can replicate their strategy. I don't know a lot of people that are trading options like consistently every day and doing well. And if they are doing like I don't even believe them if they are like every day. Probably not. There are moments that I think there are times to trade the option, but I wouldn't do that if I was a beginner. I wouldn't do that until I've made $1 million, probably trading a consistent strategy day in and day out. Like how I was saying, like options are just like such high risk, right? Like when you're wrong, you're wrong. And there's no getting out of that situation. You can blow up quite easily. So just stop being so extreme, Josh, and be okay with the turtle race, right? Like getting rich is a process. It's slow. It's one step at a time. Kyle's too nice. You're trying to do it too quick. Find a strategy that works for you and stick with it, and stop trading the options. That's what I would say.
There we go. Oh, getting on a stool here because can you guys see him? Is he there? No, he's too low. Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy. See you, buddy. He's taking over the chair.
What do we think about KDLY first red day? You know what? I'm going to tell you what we think, and it's going to be what we think because it's very obvious. Do we really want to step in front of the strongest macro asset in the market right now? I mean, look, like if KDLY breaks out and it gets extended, I mean, I see where you're at. Like it is kind of extended. It's up a lot. Like, okay, but like Bitcoin, as Kyle just said, is breaking out to new all-time highs after already breaking out to new all-time highs earlier today. Like it is very strong. And you want to step in front of that? Like, I don't know, unless something like hits the news wire and Bitcoin crashes, I probably don't want to step in front of that and want it all to get extended and then start looking for mean reversion type trades, right? Like, doesn't that just make common sense to you? Do you really want to step in front of that train? Looks like it's going to break out, if you ask me. Not that I would buy it, but Kyle, what do you think?
No, I would agree. I shouldn't say this entirely because I did try to maybe scalp MTPLF today if I could have, but I couldn't because the routes were terrible. But
and then what happened? It went $8 higher.
Yeah, and I have essentially, for the most part, blacklisted shorting any Bitcoin related stock. One, because I've never really made much money from them, and two, when I try to short them, it usually ends up in losses and very frustrating trading. It's really not worth it. If anything, I wish I had kept my eye on KDLY to get long sooner. Because yes, it was a good short on day one when it crapped itself from 20 to 10, but it based for a few days and now it's back at 20, and if not going to 30. Like it's just really, really impressive. And so yeah, there's not a single bone in my body that wants to short that thing. Even if it went down, right? Even if it goes to 0, like I'd be like, congratulations, but it's not for me. It's just not. I've lost too much money on SEP. Trying to short it on a little bit on ASST, trying to short it. Like no, thank you. I will not step in front of that train.
All right. Danny T, what'd you miss? Kyle took his shirt off.
Yep, sorry, Danny.
Wayne B says it looks sunburned. I got a red light. You guys all picked it out for me on Good Morning NASDAQ one morning. This is what we got. Can I change the color? I'm not sunburned. I'm gloriously tan, thanks to Kyle.
He's red light therapying live.
I'm literally red light therapy. I got my red light therapy machine today.
Really?
That was sick. Yeah, it's downstairs. Nice. It looks heavy. Hang on. Groove? What is this app? Glow. Damn it! I don't even know my light app. The red looks kind of intimidating.
It's not working.
Raz Klein. I'm gonna take over the questions. Is that all right, Kyle?
Sure, yeah. Lead us the way.
Raz Klein says, I'm working on finding my edge, and I think I found it trading only gap and craps. Congratulations. When you worked on your first edge, did you completely ignore obvious opportunities outside of your strategy? Recommended doing so? We don't recommend anything here. We're not financial advisors. That's number one. When you worked on your first edge, did you completely... there's something so wrong with this sentence right here, Raz. We're going to repeat it one more time. When you worked on your first edge, did you completely ignore obvious opportunities outside of your strategy? What the F are you trying to tell me right now? Are you trying to tell me that you have one edge and you want to trade something else? You have one edge and then you want to ignore the things you don't have an edge on? Is that what that sentence means? Because if it does, I think you can answer yourself in that question. You should only trade things that you have edge on. And if you truly only have one pattern that you can identify, quantify the edge, then that's the only thing you should be trading until you have a second edge. Focusing on one pattern can do a lot for one person. Having one pattern with edge will do a lot for one person. On the flip side, having a pattern with edge and going into a chat room and buying whatever the F he, she, or they are buying because you're bored and your edge isn't there that day will lead you down a road of not being consistently profitable, not having edge, and not having good results. So, what is an opportunity outside of the situation where you have an edge and where you don't have an edge? Like, really focus on your question right there, right? Your answer is kind of baked into it. You agree, Kyle?
Yes, I would also... My second question to the question is, okay, let's say I want to know what you mean by obvious opportunities. Because I think I know where you're going, but if you are just now developing or just now finding or just, relatively early stages of your consistent trading career, I can only view myself when I was at that point, and I didn't know what was obvious. Anything that was obvious was hindsight bias for me. Like, I didn't know enough to find, and even now, like, there's nothing obvious, right? Everything just has probabilities. Some things are more likely than others, but nothing is obvious to me. And so if I'm like trying to think about where I was at your stage, the short answer is yes, I only stayed with that one strategy. Yes, maybe I tried testing newer strategies, but I wasn't taking those trades in essence of trying to make bank or thinking it was obvious I should take it. It was like I'm testing something else new, or I'm trying to learn something else new, or develop a new other edge. So yeah, that's where my brain went with that one.
They were your edges. The ball don't lie. Happy Gilmore. Kyle, I've been struggling in this market shorting gappers. Is this the hardest month of the year so far? I will answer no. But gappers are going through a tough period. This is the other thing. I was talking to Mari, who's a great trader, at Kyle's wedding as well. She shorts a lot of gappers, and she's on quite a long losing streak herself. I was on quite a long losing streak for 6 weeks. I was losing, and then I made it back, and now I'm losing again. That happens. So I think gap and crap short sellers have experienced some tumultuous situations in the past month and a half, especially with all these Bitcoin gappers too. Like, it wasn't great. But with all that being said, I think the past, probably 15 days, ever since May 5th, we've had some great gap and craps across the board. And they've been acting way more like you would expect them to. So, I can't call May a bad month. The month started off really bad. I remember Kyle showed me a chart, and usually gap and craps, the chart is like, blah, 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 like every day. And then the first 5 days of May, it was like the exact opposite of that. And I think if you pulled up that chart again, it wouldn't be the same, because law of averages kind of said that was kind of a top for as bad as it could have been. And I do think we've had some great fades. It's just were you there for that? Have you been taking your strategy religiously and been a part of all of them? And then is your strategy good at the end of the day? That also is part of the equation as well. But Like factually, there have been some great all day fades. There have been some stocks that have gone red on the day. There was a day last Monday where there was like 5 gappers that gapped up with Bitcoin news, and all 5 faded gloriously. Um, so it's been tough. I don't think it's the hardest month. I thought April was worse, and the beginning of May was pretty bad. And I think it's been better for the past 15 days. And I think that's just on a data standpoint, not just on my subjective view. They have been fading.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, like, the last week of April and then into the first week or two of May, just brutal. Like, probably one of the worst drawdowns for gap and craps from a systematic standpoint that I have personally been a part of. But yes, the last week, for give or take 3 to 5 days, have been much more on par with what we are usually used to. So they go in ebbs and flows. We're kind of getting back into what normally takes place. But that doesn't mean it can't happen again. But I do agree with Huddie. Like, I think a big part of that drawdown was and again, the reason why I've stopped shorting Bitcoin stocks is because there was like 5 of them that, like, no one made money short unless you scalped it for 10 minutes. Like, no one made money short on some of these gap and craps that were actually big Bitcoin plays and just rocketed thousands of % higher. So yeah, that was a disastrous time, but it looks to be potentially over. But again, there could be a gap and crap tomorrow that says we're doing a Bitcoin treasury, and I will not be shorting it. Like, it can go right back to the terrible actions. So I would still keep your eye out for it.
What was that one that did fade well? That did the Trump Treasury?
Oh yeah, if it's like not Bitcoin, it leaves room for some disastrous fades.
What was the ticker? Freaking forgot.
I forget too.
Probably nothing. Someone in the chat remind me. All right, moving on. Right, stay strong or get a better strategy. One of the two. Right on, Kyle. Got to watch your Words of Wisdom episode ASAP. Yes, Kyle did do a podcast with Words of Wisdom. Looks sick. Solidifies your legendary status, man. Appreciate you all. His legendary status has been solidified. Have you seen his kinfo?
Thanks.
Don't need a podcast to tell you that. MTPLF, crazy move today. OTC action, man. Yeah, great to see that back in our lives. I just hope Cobra can get their crap together and let me short it very soon. I do want to short that eventually. Okay. Do you guys use 1-minute candles or 5-minute candles intraday? I'll answer first. I'll answer second. I use 2-minute candles, 10-minute candles, and 15-minute candles. I hardly ever use 5-minute candles, actually, to be honest. I don't know why. I also use 30-minute.
Did I lose my sight? Oh. Austin, I use 1-second candles. No, I'm totally joking. I think, doesn't TradingView offer that, like seconds? That's crazy. I've actually never looked at a second candle by seconds. But no, I look at the 1 minute. Rarely will I look at anything else. Sure, maybe there are times I'll take a gander at all time ranges, 5, 10, 15, 30 an hour. But no, if I'm taking a trade, it's on the 1 minute. So.
Yeah. Randy Chalachi took only 2 trades today. Okay. 1 red, 1 green. First green day this month. Congratulations. 21 days in, that's got to feel good. Okay. Nice. These are words that I'm seeing people have printed. Oh God, I just missed everything. I'm having trouble controlling my emotions, trying to trade small so I can relax more during the trade. It's a work in progress.
It's a great idea.
Trying to trade small so I can. Yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Kyle said it first. I have no control of my emotions. Small or big, I'm still pissed if I trade incorrectly. So if I don't follow my plan, I'm pissed. And that boggles me more than anything. I don't care about money. Well, Kayla, you going after hours. Nice. I missed what you guys were talking about Fannie Mae. What's your game plan if it gaps up? Ideally buy the breakout. Danny T, options are hard. LOL. I trade them. I know how to win, just not how to lose. That's sick. Hey, the built-in leverage on options pulls you in, DGen style. You know, I'll be honest, and I think it's probably true for Kyle too. It never pulled it. I didn't trade my first option until year 9 to give you guys some like idea of how unnecessary it is to trade a freaking option. And my first option trade was SMCI on like one of the best options trades that there ever was. So like, just careful. Like options I've only heard of nightmare stories. To this day, I still only hear nightmare stories. There's a world where it works. There's a world where there's a great way to do it, but most beginners aren't there.
Yeah, no, I am the same boat. I've never been drawn to options. And yeah, I've maybe taken 10 to 20 options trades in my career, but all of them have come in the last 2 to 3 years. And even after all that, I could care less if I ever take another option trade in my life. It's just not my style. Not too big of a fan of them.
Wait, I just got distracted by a star.
That's all right. Want me to keep reading?
I got it, but I just want to check some things about what. Okay. I'm here. The built-in levered and option pool. It's okay. Hey, gents. Hey, Knives. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you back. Pro noob. Love it. Love the name. Very oxymoron. How do you cover the first red day? Would you cover into the close? You can cover it however you would like. The point is, you got to trade like 1,000 of them to know what to do on the 1,000 first one. And the most important part is to like know where your stop is. Like where you cover it if it goes wrong. There are some first red days where I hold till close. Most of them I'm out by 8, like the first hour and a half, 2 hours. Like if I get a good like swift move to the downside and we're off the highs, like for the most part I'm covering it up. Kyle kind of does it better than me, so Kyle, you answer.
No, I would agree with that. I think majority of them, if the majority of them that work, are going to give you going to give you most of the day's range within the first 2 hours. And I'm not saying that at exactly the 2 hour mark. I'm just saying within that range, like within, by 11:30 Eastern, you will likely have seen most of the move. Sure, sometimes stocks will go lower in the afternoon. I can't really tell you which do and which don't. It's kind of a little bit of randomness with a little bit of discretionary, little just experience with it. But that's the general idea. And the reason being why I like to cover in the first hour or two is because there's typically a bounce, and if you don't cover, you will be very tilted by some of these bounces, because some of them bounce enough to actually give you enough time to reshort and then get the second move twice, right? Like some of these really drop 20% in the first 2 hours, then bounce back and are only down like 5% of the day to literally give you an entry relatively close to where you were short in the first place, and then will drop by the close or back down by low of day. Like you could literally get the move twice if you time them correctly. And again, not all do that, but like for people who don't do that, and you just watch paint drying and like your P&L going up and down so much throughout the day, like it can get very tilting. So something to consider.
Kyle,
Yep.
what does CRWV do?
Which one?
CRWV.
CR
WV.
CrowdStrike?
No, CRWV. The IPO
Oh,
ticker.
CoreWeave. I'm not sure, but their chart is insane. I think it's something AI related, AI and tech related, if I had to guess. If I remember looking briefly into it.
Terrasante.
Yeah, they're on a massive.
All right.
run.
Extremely Josh. You haven't changed your name yet. Thanks for your time. You're welcome. FlashNet stream. Money flowing into all those stocks. Yeah, CEP was pumping today all of a sudden. Okay, not all of a sudden. Everything's correlated. Everything has a reason. Red light therapy, bro. Serious biohack envy, dude. Kitty language, new high day. 100 comments moving it higher, bro. Why is Huddie always angry? I'm joyously angry. I'm angry for love. I'm lovingly angry. I just want the best for all of you, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it because it's not going to do you any good. Guys, is there a reason you risk dollar amount instead of percent of account per trade? I think it's kind of a mixture of both. Kind of. It can be.
Yeah,
I kind of do both.
it should be both. Like I do. Well, it depends on what you want. Like I've always said, I usually early on I religiously followed the 1% rule until the 1% became too big too quickly. So like I you know, when I had a 10K account, I followed the 1% rule, and I was risking $100 a trade. But my profitability started getting ahead of me, where in 3 months time I was now up to a $25,000 account crossing PDT, and I wasn't emotionally ready to be risking $250. Like I just couldn't do it. I started making mistakes. I started screwing up. I had to risk something like under 200. So that would be why, if it's not a set percentage and it's a set dollar amount. But I would make sure you know it. Like again, I literally said this in my podcast with Riz, that like I have to, I'll risk a dollar amount that I'm comfortable with, but I'm still making sure that dollar amount is within within or around 1%. Right. So whether that means I have to keep money in my accounts, whether it means I have to wire out money in my accounts, like I'm trying to keep it within that range. So it's like how you said, it's a little bit of both. I need to know where both are. So.
Hey, wait. I have ideas coming to me right now. You guys are doing great. Great questions. Great commentary. Hit the like button if you haven't hit it before. And if you have hit it before, hit it again. Hit it again. You can always hit it twice. Write that down. Let's say there's a rare first red day Raz client coming back to the edge of all edge questions. Let's say there's a rare first red day SMCI style. I know it's special. I know it's special. You're special, Raz. I understand where the entries and exits are. Should I ignore it if I have a clear edge at gapping crap? Again, do you know your edge? If you have an edge, take the trade. If you don't have a clear edge, you don't take the trade. And this, you're confusing me, because before you said you only have one edge. Now you're saying that should I ignore it if I have a clear edge? Like, you gotta simplify this for yourself, right? Do you have an edge? If answer is yes, take trade. If answer is no, ignore trade.
Yeah, it sounds like he's giving more clarification. Where like, okay, so if you understand the very ideal first red day look, then that technically is a second edge. Which then, yes, in that case, yeah, absolutely trade those ones and with along. But the thing is, that's the thing. But you ask at the end, Raz, you say, should I ignore? Oh no, should I ignore them if I could? No, it's like you could do both. Like if that's two, like how do you saying it? It could be very linear. If you have two edges, then you have two ways of making money. One might just pop up more than the other. Like gap and gaps probably pop up once a day. Sometimes there's like 5 a day. But the rare, very ideal first red days of like SMCI, yeah, those happen once a quarter, once a year, because they're just that damn good. Then and if you get that and you understand those, and then that sounds like an edge. So totally, that's totally fine doing both.
It's totally fine to do both.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. FRGT. I love that person who just told me that. Oh, I just wanted to short this thing forever.
Where's that? What's that looking like?
It's down a lot.
$1?
What percent of portfolio do you have for BTC, Kyle?
Percent of portfolio. That's an advanced question. I don't really have a portfolio. Well, I guess let's put it this way. Of all the money I have in crypto, I think Bitcoin is like 90% of it. Maybe like 5% Ethereum, like 1% Solana, and then the other 4 or 5% just mixed across 30 pieces of crap altcoins that have like a few $100 in each in them, So I guess that's your answer, but I don't really view it as a portfolio. I just own a ton of Bitcoin in relation to the other coins I own, because I think all the other coins just don't exist without Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin is the reason they exist, and so why would I own anything more than the very thing that it like is the actual crypto market, which is Bitcoin.
Dude, imagine being FRGT and being the only stock to have PR'd about a treasury coin and be at new lows.
I mean, when it's any kind of meme, they could have picked like Dogecoin. It would have been probably the same result. It's big mistake picking a meme coin over like something like Bitcoin.
All right, good question we got here. Sophisticated. Rat. asks, Huddie, have you ever been to the red light district? I'm gonna leave it up to the chat. Chat, let me know if you think I've been to the red light district. Put yeses. Like if I look like the kind of guy that would venture. Put yeses in the chat, and if I don't look like it, put no's in the chat. We'll get to it. We'll see what your guys' results are, and then I'll tell you maybe the answer. GRPY question. One of my least favorite questions. We don't condone these. It's not even the right ticker, is it? GRYP. It's really up, right? Maybe, probably. Okay. We don't like the question GRYP question mark. It's not really a question, so we're just gonna jump over that one like it didn't exist. So we don't have much time. Kyle, I keep thinking about something you said. When you swing short, why don't you wake up at 4 a.m.? How are you so sure that there will not be 1,000% squeeze in pre-market while you sleep?
Great question. I'm not so sure. That's the risk I'm taking. I'm generally shorting stocks that are already extended, number one. So if they're already up 1,000%, the odds of them going up another 1,000% are insanely low. Not zero, but insanely low. Two, I'm not shorting any particular manipulated or scammy tickers overnight. So all of those China liquidations, all of those tickers solely alive to just manipulate the living hell of them. I do not short those overnight. And I don't short micro floats overnight, the ones that can just, on 10,000 shares go up massively. If you avoid all of that, you put yourself in a pretty safe position to not be caught in one of those.
Relatively safe.
Yeah, relatively. So
anything can happen.
Yes.
But there are higher odds buckets of bad things happening. And we try to avoid those bad buckets and pray that the buckets that we're in are not the buckets that will harm us that bad.
Right. And the one thing I'd add to that is obviously 1,000% squeeze is the big risk, but like we're traders, guys. Like there's inherent risk of trading anything, let alone holding anything overnight. Like if that's a risk you just aren't comfortable taking, like I wouldn't be, if that was that conservative on that side of the equation, then I wouldn't even be longing stocks overnight, especially small caps. Like any ticker we long overnight in the small cap world can do an offering. And lately we've been seeing offerings that drop the stock 90% in like an hour, not in like 5 minutes, right? So I understand it's not 1,000%, but like if you're big enough and you drop 90% of your position, like that's also just as tremendously terrifying. So it's just one of those things where if you want to swing anything, there is inherent risk that you just can't control, right? Whether you wake up at 4 a.m. or not. Like seriously, the ones that squeeze 1,000% do it in like seconds. So it's like it's not if you swing will you wake up at 4 a.m. It's like if you swing, that is a risk you take, period. And I'm okay doing it because I think that risk is so microscopically small given the stocks I pick that I'm willing to take that chance. But me waking up at 4 a.m. doesn't save me any more than it already is. Than the risk already is, right? Like it's either going to be up 1,000% or it's not. They happen that effing quick. So that's kind of my take on it.
Okay. You said some words there. Those were good words. Thank you. Thank you, Kyle, for the clean words. Knives says, how is Dom's, this is interesting, Kuala Magi style trading coming along? I think it's going well. What she was on. Can't really speak for him, but I think it's going well. I think it's a good setup. I think there's some, I think Kuala Mag, I call him Kuala Magic. Chris, he's a great trader. There's a ton of information about him on YouTube. Doesn't have enough views. He's got Blogspot. Like he's a verified trader. He does well and he teaches for free and like he's a great trader to learn from. And like if you want to study something, it's probably better than most people you're going to find on the internet. Obviously, other than Clover. Alejandro is going to tell me about my YouTube settings. Please, in your YouTube settings, could you set automatic dubbing for your videos so we can watch them in other languages? It will automatically translate into 5 languages, including Spanish. We were actually going to open up a Clover Spanish channel just for you, Alejandro. Yeah, we can ask our support team for that.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't know that existed.
Or, es posible yo hablo en español solamente para tú. plan on FNMA. If it gaps up, you can join the Clover trading room, and there's going to be a watch list about it, and then there's going to be trading alerts, and those will be discussed in the morning. We don't have time for that. I think we also talked about it earlier. When trading first red days, if the stock is opening right at red green and then dips below, when trading first red, if the stock is opening right at red green and then dips below it, are you getting all your size short there so you don't miss the panic, or will you scale in still in case it squeezes? I think if a trigger is triggered, we're getting our size. Because what if it doesn't come back? And that's probably the best risk reward spot you're going to get. And I don't think like when a stock starts working in your favor, I don't think the right mentality is what if it squeezes. I'll tell you what if it squeezes. You stop out and you go to the next setup, and life continues. And it's okay to get caught in a squeeze. What's not okay is to not stop out. So like sometimes it's gonna work, sometimes it's not gonna work. Gotta be okay with it, man. It's not all gonna work. Like what do you want? Like you want to just wait, get worse risk reward, make less money, and like wait.
Yeah, I like that. If it triggers, you enter. You can you can think about it all you want, and that's not just for red days. On any setup, like if something triggers, if red green is a trigger for red days, you take it. If resistance level breaks and that's an entry for a breakout, you take it. Like trying to think about, well, what if it panics if I'm long, and what if it squeezes if I'm short? Like you'll think of every scenario in the book to stop yourself out that will likely never end up happening, right? So like what Huddie says is perfect. Like just have in your plan to stop out where you say you're going to stop out. You don't got to worry what it's going to do. I could care less what 99% of the stocks I am in do because I have a plan, and what they do in between that plan is irrelevant. It just, will I see myself stop out, or will I see myself take profits at my targets? And everything in between is practically meaningless, So.
All right. We're getting down to the last couple minutes here. So, everyone, express your love for Kyle before we go. Randy wants to know our opinion on NVTS. Will it continue to move up tomorrow, or is it done? We don't know. But if it opens up, the bigger the gap, the more I want to short it. That's what I will say. I don't know the news, though.
The news is tied to NVIDIA. NVIDIA, I think, invested in them or did something with them. So,
want to short it less.
Yeah, no idea if it moves up or down tomorrow, but I don't need to. Look, put it this way. I've seen enough NVIDIA tickers run hard enough and high enough that I do not want to short it. But I also seen them top out at some point, which makes me not want to long it. And something like NVTS isn't going to make or break my account, isn't going to be the reason why I'm poor or rich. And so that's one of those ones where I know it exists, I'll watch it. Maybe something does appear to me that seems more likely, or there's an edge. But I have no interest in actually trading it tomorrow. Because it's just not going to be a needle mover for me or my account. Also, a couple comments before then, Huddie. A lot of people said yes to your Amsterdam question.
I know, I tried to ignore this.
and Flashnet says, when in Rome. When in Amsterdam. Oh, man. Yeah, but then here all the yeses come. Huddie owns the red light district. Oh, too funny. But yeah, let me real quick before we end it. Let me just read that PR with NVTS, just so we're clear, because it is NVIDIA related. I just didn't look at it, and given the price action, I would assume it's a pretty big deal. NVIDIA selects NVTS to collaborate on next generation 800 VHVDC architecture. So their next AI chip, it sounds like. Systems of their GPUs. So they are literally picking this company to help them build their next generation of AI chips. Yeah, there's a 0% chance I probably ever short this. Unless it runs insanely like something dumb like 20, 50, 30. Yeah, no thanks. This is like another SOUN. This is another SERV to me. So yeah, no, thank you.
No, yeah, I'll actually tell you just based off, someone just brought it up, like just based off the float and the market cap, I'm not interested either. I don't think.
Okay.
The real company. Like, it reminds me of Serve.
Yeah.
like right off the bat, share structure wise, it reminds me of Surf. And
What's the float?
the float as of dilution tracker is 130 mil. The
Oh
market
wow.
cap is 1.05 bill.
Oh, it's big. Yeah, it's not even a small cap anymore, really, in terms of market cap.
So
Yeah. Interesting.
it's not
Okay.
ideal.
Um,
I think that's all the questions, unless I'm just kind of not there anymore. But
no,
you tell me, Kyle. Is it?
that's all of them. Honestly, Huddy, if you didn't speed round through them, that we wouldn't have got them all through them all. Lots of good questions today. Thank you, everyone, for participating and joining.
Thank you for participating. Thanks for showing up. We had a good time. And if you guys want to have more good times with us, here's your opportunity to join us tomorrow for Good Morning NASDAQ. Join us in the room at clovertrading.io, where we are every day, all day, throughout the day. Kyle more than most of us, but we're all there. If you want to ask questions, if you want access to our watch list, if you want access to our alerts. And if you don't want any of that, Good Morning NASDAQ tomorrow at 8:45 a.m. with Dom and myself. We'll welcome Dom back with a warm hello, a heart-to-heart hug. Kyle.
Also, last thing I want to say before we close it out, I'll put a link in the chat. We do have the page. It is live for our all-day webinar on June 10th. So those who have been to the all-day webinars know how it goes. We are pretty much there from, well, not pretty much. We are there from at least 30 minutes before market open and all the way there till market close. So if you want to spend a good 8 to 9 hours with us on like a Zoom-style fashion, it's almost like Wine Wednesday, but for 9 hours, and it's with charts and live trading and questions and Q&A and strategy sessions. Feel free to join there. And as always, we do give special discounts into the room thereafter. So even if you don't really care about the webinar, but you just want access to discounts thereafter, because I don't really know, I'm sure when the next discounts what we will have, that's always an opportunity to do so as well. So anyways, love it. Like what Huddie said, see you guys at Good Morning Isaac tomorrow. Four-Leaf Clovers webinar with me tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, so get in the room for that. And yeah, have a great, lovely Wednesday night, everybody, and we will catch you guys later. Bye.